Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Undisputed Heavyweight Champion of the World show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is Football and Nonsense. Happy Thursday to all of you. I do appreciate you tuning in on this Thursday evening. It's going to be a good one, and of course, it's just in time for the Thursday night football game. That one should prove to be a great one, as it is very important for the two teams involved. So before I get to that, little tease for you. But hey, let's go ahead and get through those headlines. The headlines are that we have 5. That's right, just like Big E Langston back in his NXT days, which I'm currently binge watching right now, and this is where I'm at in the storyline. 5 more years of Roger Goodell. Yeah, there's no applause button for that. There's no cheering. No. If I had a womp, womp, womp button, I would have hit the hell out of that, because we've got 5 more years of Roger Goodell. I need you to let that sink in, Fan Nation, okay? Because, look, here's the thing, and I haven't said that in a long time, and I should say it once an episode, but it's really more relevant now than ever, and it needs to be said. So here's the thing. Regardless of the fact that the NFL has become its own personal powerhouse in the world of sports, in the world in general, which props to the NFL, right? Okay, football. We love football. We love the way that it is produced, presented. It is a production. It is something that we get just enough of each year that when it's gone, we want it back. We want more. And then we have time off. And then when it starts to get into that season again, right? Training camps, preseason, now we start to kind of get that, we start to salivate at the idea. And then preseason, now we've gotten a taste, and we're right back in it. I mean, the way that the NFL is to its fans and consumers is that of a drug addiction. It really is. And I applaud them for how they have accomplished that. I really do. It's phenomenal. Baseball was America's pastime, and it's simply not anymore. Baseball, I think, of the big 4, big 5, if you want to reach as far as soccer, and I'm not knocking soccer, I don't watch soccer, okay? The U.S. isn't even in the World Cup this year, so the U.S. probably really isn't that into soccer right now, okay? Because once every 4 years, the U.S. goes crazy for soccer all of a sudden. Now, living in Washington and being, a hop, skip, and a jump from Seattle, the Sounders are doing very well for themselves, so there's a bit more. But as long as you've got the Seahawks over there, as long as you have the Mariners, soccer is going to be 3rd out of 3 because they don't even have basketball or hockey. And that's the really sad part about it, is because soccer, the Sounders, football, the Seahawks, they've both won championships. The Mariners haven't. But the Mariners are probably selling more tickets than the Sounders are. And that's some perspective for you. So back to my point. Of the big 5, the order goes, at least my belief, NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, MLS. And I think that hockey is something that diehard fans would say, it's a certain fan base, right? The top 3, football, basketball, and baseball, are the ones that not only have the hardcore diehard fan base, but they also get the casual watchers, right? The casual fans, the ones that will throw on a hat or a jersey shirt, right? The T-shirt that has the name and the number of a player on it, or they'll get a generic jersey, or they'll wear a throwback that their dad had of a player when they were a fan of the team. The casual watcher will be the one that will wake up Sunday at probably 10:30, 11 o'clock, flip on the TV, and whatever's on is on. The diehard fan, though, such as myself, a 49ers fan in Washington, I don't get the luxury of waking up and seeing the local team on the TV. I have to figure it out. I either have to go through the live stream feeds on Reddit, or I go out to a sports bar that has the NFL Sunday ticket. Twice a year I get to see my team play, maybe more if I'm lucky if they're good. If they're not, though, it's when they play the Seahawks at home and away. So the NFL has done just a glorious job of being the sport to watch, the entertainment. Sunday is their day now. It is. And it's crazy. And people want more still, even though there's a lot that don't like the Thursday night football. I don't. Tonight's game is very important, though, so I'll make an exception. But I don't like Thursday night football. I don't like the games being played overseas in London, soon to be China. I didn't like the game in Mexico because it takes away from a home game that those season ticket holders would otherwise have. And there's been no give. So you have the NFL that's dominating TV and entertainment and all these deals that it has. And so for Roger Goodell to kind of be the face of that, props to him. However, with good comes bad. The NFL has not been the untouchable entity that we have believed that it is for the last several seasons. And with good comes bad. Roger Goodell is the face of that too. Deflategate, concussion, anything gate. I mean, it's bad. And whoever it is that's in charge of this thing decided, you know what, Roger, we're going to go ahead and we're going to stick with you for 5 more years and we're going to pay you $200 million. That's right, 200, and then a whole lot more zeros to basically be the puppet for the owners. I mean, that's what he is. And the owners, I've said for a long time here on the show, have way too much power when it comes to the things that they just, in all honesty, should not have the power over, like player health and safety and coaching decisions and things of that nature. But they sign the checks. It's their money. They're the ones that have gotten to the point where they had enough to even purchase a team to begin with. So it's hard to knock them for being business people. But the NFL, the last 2 seasons are seasons that I have been genuinely concerned with the NFL, because with every empire comes collapse, right? Baseball seemed untouchable for so long, and NBA then suddenly took over when it revolutionized sports in the 90s. It really did. I mean, if you think back to sports in the 90s, NBA was probably the NFL's biggest competition. I don't even think that in the early 90s that the NFL had reached the point that it is now, which is the stranglehold, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world of sports. The NBA in the 90s, though, you had Michael Jordan, you had Magic Johnson, you had so many superstars, right? And that is what the NBA has built itself off, is superstars, is that one guy on each team, that star power. And the NFL has tried to do that. They have tried very hard. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Odell Beckham Jr., Adrian Peterson, David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. But it is still 11 guys on both sides of the ball out there that have to play in conjunction with each other. You know, they have to snap the ball. They're in unison. Okay, what is happening? And so Rodgers gets hurt, Odell Beckham gets hurt. So the NFL loses its star power, and with that, it can sometimes take a hit in the ratings, because the NFL is its own worst enemy in how it presents its product. And what do I mean by that? I mean that rather than selling what it is, which is 11 guys out there on the field, offense, then defense, so 22 altogether, you are selling star power, which I understand you need to have your main attractions, but they sell it so much that if the star player isn't out there, people might as well not even bother watching, because they're under the belief, because they've been sold that they are getting a lesser product. And that, I think, is the NFL's biggest mistake ever, is that you've got to stop selling star power and you have got to start selling quality of product, which if we cut preseason games in half, right? Cut it down to 2. If we reduced the number of games that we had in season as a whole by 16 to maybe 14, if we did bye weeks a better way than what we do. I mean, nobody is even touching the fact that Tampa Bay and Miami have played nonstop since their bye week, which was changed at a moment's notice in week 1. They have played nonstop football. Thursday football games where they have all this extra travel they have to do just to get to London and prepare and try to adjust. This is reducing your quality of product, and this is why there is a problem when you have your big stars get hurt. I remember the year that Tom Brady didn't play. New England was fine, but the NFL wasn't. It was missing its star player. So for Goodell to get $200 million to come back and do what? Do what for 5 years? The protests, whether or not they by the numbers realistically hurt viewership or the NFL, it still hurt the NFL because you don't want to be the powerhouse that has to draw all of its energy and credibility from negative. You know, that old saying of there's no such thing as bad press because it's still your product, your name, your brand in the mix, good or bad. I guarantee that with everything that's gone on, like the Me Too movement and everyone that's been ousted, yeah, there's probably some bad press, okay? I think we live in a world now where we have seen truly what the power of bad press can do. And the NFL is flirting with a very, very thin line. Now, I'm somewhat of a cynic when it comes to this. I'm an NFL critic as much as I am a fan. I love my 49ers, but I hate what they do sometimes. So the Roger Goodell thing, it bugs me. It really does. So tonight we have the New Orleans Saints against the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. I think this is going to be a amazing game. I'd say if there's an over-under on this for combined points, you should probably take the over. I could see each one scoring 35, 40 plus a piece, maybe more. That's the hope that you have when you have two high-powered offenses, but you know the reality is that it probably won't come to that. I want a good game. I want a close game. Atlanta really needs this win, especially because they hold the tiebreaker over Seattle. But New Orleans, right now, or at least up until Seattle beat the Eagles, all three, sorry, Tampa Bay Bucks, 3 of 4 NFC South teams were in the playoff picture. The Saints would win the division, and then in this order, it would be, I think it was Carolina and Atlanta, Atlanta having the 6th and final seed. Since Atlanta lost and Seattle won, they are no longer tied records. So Seattle has a game, or I guess it's a half a game on them. And so Atlanta is on the outside looking in. I still think it's going to be all 3 from the NFC South. I do not think that Seattle will make the playoffs this year, and that was a bold prediction that I made when the season first started. They get lucky, and yeah, luck is all you need when it comes to making a postseason berth, but I tell you, it's if they're not playing at home in prime time, anybody can beat these guys. Even if they're playing at home, if it's not prime time, anybody can beat these guys. Washington Redskins did it. But if you get them CenturyLink on a Sunday or Monday night, man, it's game over. So if you stay away from the primetime games in Seattle, then there's a chance. And their schedule, I think it's going to come down to the last week of the season, in all honesty, as far as who gets into the playoffs and who wins the NFC West. Watch that one, and maybe even who wins the NFC South. Vikings sit alone atop the NFC North. Connor Ferguson did a great write-up on that. It is available at thefanshow.com. So go and check that out under the football tab. I'm going to go ahead and bring on my first guest of the evening. He is the new coach of the Bloomington Edge, Nick Ruud. So don't go anywhere. We've got more of the Fan Show coming up after this.
This is The Sheet.
Gets me all revved up. My face is now red. My ears are just freaking boiling.
He's so raw that Sky hates him.
Yeah, he had 51 touchdowns, 4,900 total yards.
I know y'all like that, but I got to run. And only in Alabama that could happen, I have to say.
They're so good, man. They would win the Big Ten if they were in the Big Ten.
You could be doing something vision-based in front of you and reach down and grab a handful of insane goodness.
Give it to him. Kudos. I'm clapping like a golfer. Very good, Johnny. I'm proud of you.
Wow. You guys agree on something again? I'm very impressed. You ever had a bad week? Just you walk outside, step in a puddle, like right when you walk outside. I mean, how does it puddle right outside the house? Are you stand on the curb and somebody drives by and splashes water up on you? Or it's just raining on you, not anyone else?
I will tell you, before you go any further, I cannot hear Chad when he speaks.
Good. Here, listen to the sheet, man. I don't really know what we're doing.
Every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on WBLZ Sports.
Whether it be your industrial, commercial, or residential needs, Gen Service is the electrical contractor for you. The Gen Service team has the expertise, commitment, and educational years to help you solve all your electrical concerns. They have you in their best interest with helpful suggestions to accommodate your every want. Give them a call, no matter the size of the job, at 740-438-7173. Mention WBLZ Sports, and you'll get a discount. That's Gen Service, 740-438-7173.
This is Nick Ciccarelli, the mad scientist of sports. Join me and Dr. D, Derek Jones, live every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific, for the Mad Scientist Sports Lab. The big intellect, the experiments on the chalkboard, and the guest subjects will be rolling in. Mad Scientist Sports Lab, only on WBLZ Sports, where we got balls.
Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. He has over 30 years of painting experience. He's interior, exterior, commercial, or residential. Doug Peffer covers it all. Is your house looking ugh? Well, call on Doug. Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing, 404-966-3361. Mention WBLZ Sports and get a special We've Got Balls discount. That's Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing, 404-966-3361.
Check out Thursday Night Tailgate, where NFL legends live on. We bring you 5 NFL legends every week, sharing their stories and insights, plus our spotlight on the positive. Hear which players are doing great things in their communities. Now on WBLZ Sports Talk Radio and WBLZSports.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we've got a first-timer on the show. It is the Bloomington Edge head coach, new this year, Nick Ruud. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great. How about yourself there, Richard?
I'm doing awesome. I'm one of an elite group, and I say that with every meaning of the word, that gets very excited once we start talking indoor football. And the Indoor Football League has released its schedule. It's had its coaches meeting, and we are in full countdown mode. And I'm very excited to have you and the Edge in the league. I came to Bloomington last year for a game. Amir Ishmael was the head coach, good friend of mine. So you've got some shoes to fill there. It was a good season for them, but I have all the faith in the world in you. How has it been since you were announced as head coach?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great just getting this thing rolling. I've been involved with this team from day one. Came on here initially as a player and played for 3 years, and then been the O-line coach, assistant head coach, player personnel. I've done it all. So finally getting a shot to be the head man, I'm super excited for that.
So this will be your first time as a head coach, and what kind of challenges has that presented to you so far? Ones both that you expected and ones that maybe you didn't see coming.
Just finding your identity as a head coach before, it's when you're assistant coach and in all those type of situations, you kind of fall in line with the man leading. That's part of being an assistant, is supporting him in what he's doing. So now setting the tone myself and is in the whole process. Deciding what type of team we want to be. Making decisions as far as offensively and defensively, and the player and the personnel aspect, and all that type of stuff. So being a little more hands-on and involved. Something that I was more used to kind of. The team was put together, and I'd show up, and these are the guys you're working with. So a little more say on it this go around.
Yeah, it looks like you have had some good signings, or I guess re-signings. You're keeping on some of the players from last year, which is always good because you like to have, I mean, there's going to be changeover, there's going to be some turnover there, but you want to try to at least have enough key players that you can keep whatever identity that there was, especially the one that maybe you have envisioned for the team. But Cody Barber, former kicker, is with the Iowa Barnstormers, but he always has high praises for Bloomington, and you guys bring with you the West Michigan Ironmen, who I do not really know a whole lot about. I was hoping maybe you could fill us in on what we can expect from the Ironmen out of West Michigan.
They put they got a good solid team up there. The staff's awesome. We developed a nice little rivalry last year up in the CIF. Playing them, I think it was 4 times, I want to say, and we split with them. So, but they get, they put together a good solid team up there. They got a great, well-ran organization. The staff's, not necessarily super in depth as far as their indoor experience goes, but as far as coaching, they have a lot of experience in coaching, and it's just, they learned the game in the last couple of years, I know, playing, and so they know what's going on up there now, and they got a well-ran organization up there.
Well, that's good to hear. It's sad that we have lost 2 teams in between last year and this year, but of course 2 of those teams who were run by the same company, that was sort of unavoidable, and it's sort of left, not the best taste in everyone's mouth going into this year. But so many coaches that I talked to last year, players also said that, there was a few things that they would really like to see change in the indoor game. If they had one wish, it would be to reduce the number of games in a season. So you guys enter 2018 with 8 teams, but 14 games, you will not play the same team more than twice. So those 4-game, stretches that you have with the same opponent, it's a thing of the past, at least for now. How do you and your guys feel about a reduced schedule and not having to see the same team more than twice?
Well, for us, it isn't necessarily a reduced schedule. Last year I think it was 12 games they played in the CIF, so we're playing a couple more actually. But as far as the repetitiveness of playing a team over and over again, that is, playing a team 4 times it's just it's really not very beneficial for anyone, I don't think. Just seeing guys over and over again, plus your fan base. It is fun to get those rivalries going, but I think the rivalry over, a couple games is better than, 4 games, because, after a while, trying to beat a team 4 times is extremely difficult to do. Trying to beat a team 2-3 times is difficult to do, when you get to start to see each other a lot like that, 3-4 times. It gets a little repetitive, not only for the fans, but for the players. So, to see a team just twice, and a lot at stake with every time that you play those guys, because in a head-to-head league like this, when you're only seeing a team twice, those wins are extremely important, and they're that much more valuable, when you're only seeing them twice.
Yeah, and I talked with Coach Dixie Wooten of the Barnstormers earlier this week, and he said, it's kind of a relief for him, because when it comes to tiebreakers, it's no longer a strength of schedule, which can, kind of be good and bad. But he said it's more of the points for and against, which I've always been a big fan of. But you guys had your annual coaches meeting, which I don't know if they did in the CIF, but how was that for you?
It was great. It was great to, to meet these coaches. Like I said, having only known the staff over in Western Michigan, and to go out and, meet these guys, and, you hear so much about them. I've been in indoor football for, 15 years now, either as a player or a coach. So, you hear these names spoken about, and to get there and actually meet with them and interact and talk and get everything squared away it was fun for me. So I know that being the new kid on the block, not only as a team, but as a head coach, I got to go out and got to earn the respect from those guys, because they've been doing it a long time. So but it was great to be in those meetings, and insightful to as far as the league went, and the staffs that are around here. So it was exciting.
Who's your favorite coach in the IFL, if you have one?
I'd go with this young upstart. His name's Nick Ruud. I don't know. He's a young guy. He's got a lot of ambition. He talks well. The players seem to like him. But it'd be tough. I'm a big fan of guys that are former players, so because they know a little bit more, about about the game and about the struggle. So uh, Coach Wooten, Coach Riggs, any of those guys are great guys. They all seem to have a good head on their shoulders, and obviously run great organizations, and also understand the struggles. When you're chasing a dream, playing indoor ball. So. I think all the coaches up there were great, though. It was great to bounce stuff off of them and get their opinions on things too.
Well, I am a fan of young and ambitious. I think it's very admirable for people to aspire to maybe break the mold or change it around a little bit. So props to you for that. How did you get into football? Like, was this always your course in life, or was there ever a moment that you said, it could have gone this way if not football?
Yeah, it's amazing how that works, right? Football, the paths that people take. Through my career, I was always like the one step away, and ended up, right when I was making that next step, an injury would occur or something. So, through college. Having injuries right in the late half of my senior year, and then playing indoor ball myself for 5 years, when I was finally getting some next level looks, getting another injury, and then finally, deciding that it was kind of time to call it quits. And that opened up the door to coaching, though. My first coaching job was actually in the IFL when we were the Extreme, the Bloomington Extreme here, and, Coach Kenton Carr at the time, brought me on board as the offensive line coach, which led to me coaching in college as well. I've been coaching at Illinois Wesleyan here in Bloomington for about a decade now. So I've been a running backs coach there, offensive line, tight ends coach there. So basically, chasing a new dream. I was chasing the dream of playing and making to that level, but now, getting a chance to, coach and now be a head coach is, it's the new dream, and chasing that, and it's been an exciting journey so far.
If you weren't coaching, what do you think you'd be doing, and is there a plan for life after coaching?
Well, I was initially, I went to college. I was a pre-law, and I kind of went that whole route, and was actually was really highly considering heading to law school after college, and then continued chasing the dream. And I have a lot of family that are in law, are attorneys, and I remember one day I went into my dad's office. He's an attorney, and I was like looking around at just the stacks of files and all this and the paperwork, and I was like, man, I don't know. I'm a little bit more of a free spirit. I can't, so now it's a different type of, obviously workload I take on, and the hours are different, but at the end of the day, you got to do what you're passionate about, and what you care about. And what I consider myself unbelievably lucky, because when I wake up in the morning, I get to go out and do what I love, and that's coach football and be around athletes and be a part of the process of developing, guys at the college level, which is awesome for me to see guys, play ball, especially at Division III, where, you're not getting scholarships, and these guys are putting in, countless hours, and not getting, anything for it. And not on top of that, going to a, highly academic institution in Illinois Wesleyan. So seeing that part of it, and now, as well, getting into the indoor part of it, is guys that are chasing a dream, that have played at an elite level and chasing their own dreams, and trying to help them forward and through the process. So, I mean, it's an unbelievable thing to be a part of, and I'm very excited to get my chance now to do, to be the head man.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity for you. Like I said, I think the Bloomington Edge, great team, good program, so it'll be exciting to have you guys in the league. Now, I'm always curious because I don't find out until last minute when these annual meetings are happening. But, you guys go in there, you meet with the coaches and whoever else that decides to be there, and then the officials, most importantly. Now, when it comes to conversations that you guys have with officials, is there ever like a point of emphasis as far as like a particular call or the way that they call? Because for me, for example, as an NFL fan, you watch these games and there's replay for a lot. Now, there's no replay in the indoor game, and you realize that as soon as you really want a replay of something. But you have a guy who, catches the ball out in the field, and it looked like it came really close to hitting the ground. You're not sure until you see the replay, but the referee calls it one way or another. Now, the replay shows that it did in fact, hit the ground, but it was such a close call that you almost would have been okay with the ref calling it like he seed it.
Mm-hmm.
But, then there's the calls that can't be reviewed that the referee called simply because he was unclear on the rules. So when you guys meet with these officials, what's the emphasis as far as what the message that you want to get across and what your hope is and the bar being set for the next season?
I mean, I know officials. I mean, nobody's perfect, right? I mean,
No.
it'd be awesome to say that everybody's going to go out there and I'm going to call the perfect game, and they're going to see all the right calls, and make those. I was really interested to see. Basically, they kind of went over the mechanics that they went through as a unit, because not only it's like a football team. You guys all got to be on the same page, and route combos and everything like that. Similar in reffing, they have mechanics. Hey, in this type of situation, you need, to be here and so you can be in there to make that call. So, I mean, going into it, just those guys all being on the same page so that they have the best opportunity to make those calls and then confer, it was really interesting to see. And I guess that, for myself, that was the biggest thing from them would be, just make sure they're in the right spot, to make the call. And the call is what it is. There's no going back on it. Like you said, there's not a replay system instituted in this league right now. And, just to have those guys make sure they're right spots. And, I'm not going to agree, depending on the call, you might get a high, get an excited me or a not so happy me. But at the end of the day, how I feel about it doesn't really matter. The call's what it's going to be. And, the biggest thing is being able to move on from that and then adjusting to whatever that call is. So,
well, as far as the schedule, you've had a chance to look over it. Every coach is different, whether or not they look beyond week one or they start to count down days to certain matchups. But clearly, you being the new guy and the new team in the league, this team has a little bit of history with this league and some of the teams. But who is either the team or the coach that you're most excited to face off with this season?
I'm excited. Obviously, Sioux Falls and Arizona, both awesome programs that ran very well with great staffs that have been around for a long time. Coach Stout over in Nebraska now. Coach Wooten in Iowa, returning and coach of the year, I believe, last year. So I mean, any staff and any team you're going to go to is going to be a great game. That's the beauty of this league right now. Is that there's no pushovers here. Every week you got to bring your A game because the players and the coaches that you're going to see week in and week out are going to be top notch, and that's why the IFL is the IFL. Because they have they've set that precedent, and they have that goes along with what they do here and how it's ran. So I'm excited just to get out there every week and go 1-0 basically. Coach Robert Fuller, I played for him back in the day in Omaha. That was his big thing. I was kind of stole it a little bit, but a big thing for me and a big emphasis for me is 1-0 every week, 1-0 every rep. So.
Spoken like a true coach, so you've got the coach speak down, as Coach Kevin Guy calls it. So
that's a class you take, actually. It's an online course, so but it's okay.
As long as you graduate with honors, that's all that
matters.
That's
right. Well, I did. It's better than my college grades. Let's just say that. So.
Well, every Thursday on the show here, we have a little segment called Fan versus Fan Show Pick'em. I've not been doing very well, so maybe you can get off to a great start in your coaching debut against me. 5 games. We pick the winner and loser of these for the NFL. If you think you're up for it.
Sure, I'm always up for it. I was born on a green light.
All right.
I'm always ready to go.
So the first game, then, I normally don't do the Thursday games, but this one, it's one that matters. New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. Who do you like?
I'm gonna go with the Falcons because the guy that I'm playing in fantasy has Drew Brees, so I gotta go with that. It's more of a hopeful pick, but I'll take it.
And I will take the high-powered Saints. Now, I will admit, Atlanta needs this win more so than the Saints probably do because of that tiebreaker that they have with Seattle. But right now, Seattle has a game over them. So I think a lot of the NFC is going to come down to the last week of football. So
yeah, it's awesome too. That's what you want to see.
Different on that one. How about Oakland in Kansas City? The Raiders that are kind of hit and miss, and the Kansas City Chiefs that are all but collapsing.
Yeah, they are, right? It's amazing how, that's the way the NFL is in football in general, right? You're the best thing since sliced bread one week, and then 4 or 5 weeks later, guys, you're nobody wants to touch you. So that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I think like what they do, what they're doing over there. I'd like to see the Chiefs do well, but I actually had to bench. What's his name? The running back. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name right now. For
Kareem
the Chiefs.
Hunt.
Yeah, he just hasn't been getting it done for me. So I actually had to bench him this week. So just wasn't getting done. So I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Okay, I think I'm going to pick the Chiefs because this is a game that the Raiders should win, and therefore they probably won't because that's been the story all season.
Yeah,
so different on that one as well. Let's go with the 3 big matchups of the week, and that's got to be Seattle and Jacksonville. This is a big one, non-conference, but still means just as much to each team.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Seattle. I like Russell Wilson, man, great. Obviously, hell of a quarterback out there. And does great things out there as well. Always just. I'm a big Pete Carroll guy too. I am. I like his coaching style. I like to think myself along those similar lines. As I like to get to know and build those relationships with players. So I'm gonna go with Seattle.
And I think I'm going to pick Seattle too because I want them to lose because I'm not a Seattle fan. I'm a Niners fan. And so the last time that I picked them to win, they lost. So I'm going to go with that approach and pick them to win again in hopes that they lose. So
there you go.
We both like Seattle there. This game being billed as the game of the week, and I think that if you looked at the week prior, probably, but after their most recent loss, I don't know. This might be a tough one. And that's the Eagles in LA to take on the Rams. This one huge for both teams also. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough one right there. I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I love Carson Wentz out there slinging the ball around. It's awesome to see a quote unquote smaller school guy have so much success and an impact so quickly in the NFL. I'm gonna go with Philly on that one. And Philadelphia, I know that they've only beaten one team with a winning record, but as I always say, when it comes to that whole strength of schedule thing, it really all depends on at what point in the season you're looking at the schedule. So they might all look like losing records now, but they could change at the end of the season. They probably were in different places at the beginning of the season too. So I don't think that Seattle exposed them, but I do think that the Rams have a lot more going on for them, especially after that embarrassing loss to Minnesota on the road. So I think the Rams have a lot to prove. So do the Eagles. It's going to be a great game regardless. I will go with LA on this. And the last game then, this one is important for both teams. It is a divisional matchup, Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh. Yeah, I've always been a Steelers fan. I enjoy. They got just such. Mike Tomlin's a great coach over there. I like. Big Ben slinging it around out there. Antonio Brown. I like everything they do over there. So I think Steelers. I'm going to go with the Steelers.
And I agree. I think the Baltimore is doing some good things right now, but not good enough to tackle Big Ben at home, especially. Yeah. And what we saw last week against the Bengals was just ugly. I think they're going to look to play a bit more professional football this time around. So we both like the Steelers, and he is the young and ambitious new head coach of the Bloomington Indoor Football League team, and he's got the edge going into the 28th season. Coach Ruud, it has been an honor to talk to you, sir.
Yeah, it was great talking to you too. Thanks a lot for having me on, man. It was I look forward to getting on here again and as the season goes along.
Oh, yeah. Invites go out after every week to the winners, and then from there, we narrow it down. But so hopefully, as long as you keep on winning, the invites keep going out.
Hey, that's the plan then. But I did notice you didn't ask me about the Chicago Bears at all. That's my team. Nobody wants to talk about the Bears. It's all right. It's okay.
It was something that I figured that was your team, and considering that they lost to my team, and it was all field goals, I didn't know how touchy of a subject it was going to be.
Right. So. I love them, but hey, Robbie Gold, man. An MVP for the Bears. Never should have traded him away. All guys always Robbie good as gold, as I always used to call him. So, but no, I appreciate you having me on, and I'm looking forward to getting some wins so I can get back on this show and we can talk.
Hey, win or lose, we'll have you back. Maybe we'll even talk your Bears next time around. But I'm looking forward to the season, and I'll catch up with you again soon. But you take care and get your game planning going.
That sounds like a plan, Richard. It was great talking to you, and you have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
All right.
That was Coach Nick Ruud of the Bloomington Edge. And with that, I had a surprise in store for you. Two, I guess. One surprise is that this is a first in fan show history. There was not a butt fumble award-worthy moment. Like, I went through each game. I went through everything that's been going on. And I couldn't find nominees. I couldn't find anyone for you of Fan Nation to vote for. But then, the NFL. Oh, the NFL always delivers, does it not? I mean, without fail. Ooh, NFL, I applaud you, because when I thought all hope was lost, it was not. And for that, this week, the Butt Fumble Award goes to, wait for it, because this is too good to not build up a little bit of suspense. So I have to thank the NFL really quick, because I had lost all hope, and then they came through with this. Wait for it. Roger Goodell in the NFL. Oh, NFL, you. When it comes to butt fumbles, I don't think that there's going to be a bigger one that we remember for the next 5 years to come than the fact that you decided to extend Roger Goodell's contract 5 more years, $200 million. Congratulations, NFL. So the NFL is your Week 13 Butt Fumble Award winner. Man, did they earn it with that Roger Goodell contract. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. I'm looking at tweets. The billionaires who own teams in NFL are allowed to spend their money however they choose. And best I can tell, Roger Goodell is entitled to earn a living. So, again, the problem is that it's Roger Goodell. Apparently the fans have spoken. I've got a lot of tweets and stuff to read. But, Roger Goodell, $200 million failure. Congratulations. Okay, so I got my second surprise coming up. Don't go anywhere. We've got Fan Show coming up after this. You're listening to The Fan Show, your home for all things football and nonsense. My special guest tonight, Farouk. Farouk, welcome.
He's no expert, but here's the thing. Football and nonsense is what he brings. Sports talk with a twist. It's The Fan Show!
Do you know him as Kevin from the League? It is none other than very funny Steve Ranazzisi.
99% of the population doesn't know who I am, but the 1% do. They yell and scream inappropriate things at me in public.
Kyle Ray. Kyle, welcome.
And I was like, wow, I think we just saw the whole Super Bowl, Phyllis. It's like that scene in The Simpsons, like, why rent the movie? I just saw the best part.
Funny man Brad Williams.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I flew in just for your podcast. I've heard about this podcast. I've heard it's fantastic.
It's Mac and Farva, but they are my special guests tonight. Steve Lemmy, Kevin Heffernan.
I was in Mexico for 10 weeks in a Speedo. Like, that was me going to work. I was putting on a Speedo. Farva is the most fun to play, and it was a blast to do that again, to do Farva again. So then the makeup artist had to put Vaseline on your body, right? Yeah. And then put the powdered sugar on top of that. Is your name really Richard Siemens?
Listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night on Spreaker.com, or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. And I'm back, but I'm not back with my surprise. I'm a little sad because there may have been miscommunication, and you guys know that I'm very good about keeping up my end when it comes to surprises. So we'll give it a few minutes here. I've got just under 15 left before the end of the show. But I did have a very good surprise for you as far as, surprises that I can, normally deliver on. It was a special guest who was here to say a few words because of the big announcement that was made. So we'll give it a few minutes to see if he calls back. Otherwise, we will go ahead and maybe try another time. But we can at least discuss some relevant topics here. It is fantasy football season, right? And it's coming to an end, sadly. I know. Collective. Oh. But it's playoff season, so hopefully you made the playoffs. I did in 2 of my 6 leagues, so not my best moment, but still a good one. At least I made it. Definitely not doing more than 3 next year, and I know that I told myself that going into this season, but I am holding strong to that next year because keeping up with 6, it's so disappointing. I think the best that I did at any week was winning 4 out of 6. And I thought I had won all 6 until the Monday night game screwed me. So 6 is too much. I think really anything over 3 is too much. People that do like 12 or however many, how? How do you do it? I thought 1 was complicated. I'm sure that everybody has like their own like a rhythm that you get into. But with that being said, if you have made your fantasy playoffs, or if you run a league and it is about to have its playoffs, you will have a champion, and that champion will need to be crowned. What better way than hitting up the good guys at UndisputedBelts.com. Follow them on Twitter at UndisputedBelts. Like them on Facebook at UndisputedBelts. And check them out on their Instagram, UndisputedBelts. They make custom or cookie cutter belts and rings. That's right. Newest thing to the Undisputed Belts Championship arsenal is lovely championship rings. They've got 4 different designs to choose from with their cookie cutter belts, as I call them. They're pre-made, pre-molded ones. They've got, I think, 3 different designs. Brett Casella, the winner of the first Fan Nation Fantasy Football League last year, has his. Very proud of it. We did it was a silhouette of running back with the number of Walter Payton, so we called it the Payton. So he has the Payton belt. And then you can get custom, and if you guys have seen me out and about anywhere, on the road, in public, I have the belt slinged over my shoulder ever so delicately and comfortably because it is badass and awesome. So email them designs. It might cost you a bit more, but well worth it. Get a custom belt, cookie cutter, or add a ring to your championship display. UndisputedBelts.com, and no word from... Yep. It looks like that's going to be a no word back, and we've only got about 5 to 10 minutes left. So Jack Bramswig, who I announced earlier this week, will not be returning to the Green Bay Blizzard, and I'm very sad about that. But we're all excited because he is signed. The reason is because he is signed with the Montreal Alouettes of the CFL, Canadian Football League. That is, without a doubt, the next step up from the indoor game and the step right below or next to the NFL. So very happy for him. I wanted to invite him on to be on. He said that he could, but probably something came up. These things happen. And say a few words, talk and laugh a little. He was one of the winners or recipients of the Fan Show Player of the Game. He got to sport the belt for a while. We had some post-game comments and laughs. So congratulations, Mr. Bramswig. It was an honor and a privilege to meet you, and I'm sure I'll see you down the road. Got to get my passport in order now, though, it looks like. I've got players all over the place that are friends of mine. So, Jack, you have definitely earned it, sir. A big congratulations one more time for you and your monumental signing and the next step in your professional football career. So as we put a bow on this week, I'd like to remind you all that you can help fund the Fan Show's next tour by visiting teespring.com/thefanshow. Visit the Fan Show's official merchandise store where you can get a men's or women's t-shirts in several different colors, as well as hoodies that are oh so comfy. Logan wears his like all the time, and so do everyone else that have bought a t-shirt or a hoodie. I see them all over the place now, and it is such a heartwarming feeling. During the month of December, because it is the season of giving, and we always give on the Fan Show, and we have donated to Susan G. Komen and Wounded Warrior. This month, December, Toys for Tots is the charity of choice. So every purchase you make, every order that you place, 10% will be going to Toys for Tots. And stay tuned, there may be some promotional consideration as far as promo codes and discounts to throw your way as we get closer and closer to the holiday season. So go and visit teespring.com/thefanshow. Order yourself a lovely, comfortable t-shirt or hoodie. Donate to a good cause and help fund the Fan Show Tour 2018. And don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at FanShowOfficial and follow along on the Instagram and Snapchat. Both are The Fan Show. And like us on Facebook. Facebook page always needs some love, and that is facebook.com/FanShowOfficial. But your home base for all things football and nonsense is thefanshow.com. You can reach me, Richard at thefanshow.com, or of course through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. There's so many ways that you can reach me if you'd like to be a guest, have an idea for a guest, or a topic that you'd like to hear discussed on the show. Those are the ways to do it. WBLZ Sports, proud member of that family. So many great hosts and shows on that network, on that station. Download the app or go to WBLZsports.com. And the Fan Show has moved to a new time. Replays are available the next day, but instead of 10 a.m. Pacific, it is now 2 p.m. Pacific. So for you East Coasters, it is prime time, drive time to listen to me and the Fan Show if you missed it the day of. So replays on WBLZ Sports at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. And remember, we've got balls. Now, for those of you that are podcast fans, iTunes, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio are the ways and platforms that you can describe to the Fan Show. For if you can't listen to me live, that's the way to get the most recent episode downloaded directly to your phone. Always be in the know, never miss a beat. iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and then, of course, listen to me live either through Spreaker.com or thefanshow.com. Click live. We've got lots of great content on thefanshow.com. Always looking for writers and more members to join our team, especially with the Indoor Football League and the indoor football seasons, arena leagues included, coming up. We've got some plans for that, plans for the tour, and so much, much more. So enjoy your football this weekend, right? It's going to be a good one. You've got the Saints and Falcons coming up tonight. And, oh, hold that thought. We may have a guest. Give me just a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, better late than never. It is the newest member of the Montreal Alouettes, Jack Bramswig. Jack, congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
When did you get the news, and how was it?
I was in contact with Montreal for the last few months, going back and forth, and I was kind of waiting out the NFL teams that I've heard back from. But then, it came time to make a decision, and I was getting to know the guys up in Montreal, and it just seemed like the right fit for me. So it was a official, I'd say, it was Sunday when I made the signing, and it was a pretty great feeling.
Oh, I bet, man. How excited are you to finally get a chance to eat at a Tim Hortons?
What was that?
Tim Hortons. It's their big donut shop.
Oh yeah, well, I'm big How I Met Your Mother fan. So I'm aware.
Yes.
Yeah, getting back up there. This will be the first time.
First time to Canada, right?
Yeah, I never left the country.
Wow. That's doubly big for you, man. I'm excited. It's the power of the belt, I tell you. The scouts see the belt and they're like, this guy must be a big deal, and then that's when you get the call.
Yeah, the belt does good things for you.
Well, Jack, I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't going to miss you in Green Bay, man, but we all know that it's for the best. I mean, if anything, this is the next step up, and it's a step either just below or right next to the NFL, man, and we knew that you were going to have big things for your future, and we couldn't be more excited for you, trust me.
Yeah, no, I mean, the people in Green Bay and, in the Indoor Football League definitely treated me well, and they gave me the platform to show my skills, so I'm forever in debt to those guys. They've done so much for me.
Well, you'll definitely have to let us all know and keep us in the loop if you do manage to make it back stateside for a Blizzard game, and then I can maybe coordinate being at that game as well. It'd be fun to hang out with you for one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm planning to get to one of the games early before or after I report to camp, because I think my season is going to be about 3 months behind the IFL season, so I'm trying to take advantage of my free time before I ship up.
What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge for you adjusting to the Canadian Football League and their style of game?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been officially a member of the CFL for 5 days now, so I'm still reading up on the rule changes as I do at the IFL. So I'm going probably from the smallest field in professional football to the largest field in professional football. So it's going to be an adjustment, but I'll have to get back to you on an official answer what's going to be the most difficult. But, the talent of play is everything. It's a step up, so the talent's going to be a step up as well. So just to compete against, the higher competition, it's pretty excited to get after that.
Well, Montreal has made one incredible signing with you, and they are definitely going to be contenders now with Mr. Handsome Jack Bramswig. So, Jack, one more time from all of us in the IFL and the Green Bay Blizzard, and especially me here on the show, congratulations, sir, and we wish you nothing but the absolute best in your future career.
Thank you so much. Couldn't thank you enough. Really appreciate it.
All right, man, I'll let you get back to it, but you have a great night, and I'm sure that we'll be in touch, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely, can't wait.
Hey, good luck in the fantasy playoffs too.
I know, a little nervous. So it'll be a close one though.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yep, you too.
Bye. All right, so we made it after all. Jack Bramswig, ladies and gentlemen, and that will put the perfect bow on this Thursday episode as we close out another fan show week. We'll be back same time, same place next Tuesday for an all-new edition and an all-new week of the Fan Show. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.